Hi, my name is David Seal. I'm from Falkirk in central Scotland and I currently teach in secondary school there. Today I just want to share a few minutes of the story of how I came to faith in Jesus and hopefully just encourage others who are listening to consider Jesus and the difference that he can make in their lives. A number of years ago I remember attending church on a regular basis with my parents. They would take me week in, week out to church, and when I was young, likely about 9 years of age, I made some kind of commitment to follow Jesus as a child. As I grew up through high school, the number one thing for me was sport, taking part in playing sport. I played football and played volleyball as well, and all my time was taken up with either one sport or the other. And through time, this took me away from attending church, and really after a number of years, into my later teenage years, I'd stopped going to church altogether. Growing up, I was always popular. I was a captain of the volleyball team. I played guitar and sang in bands, and I was always around people. There was always people wanting to be involved in the things that I was doing. And it was great at the time to think that I was Mr. Popular and things were really great. I progressed from college into a career in the police when I was young. I served as a police officer, and when I was young I got married as well. All these things at a young age took their toll, and the marriage became difficult. There was serious financial difficulties. A breakdown of the relationship and the marriage, and just a few months after my son was born, I separated from my ex-wife. That was a difficult personal time. However, I found myself alone, and really for the first time in a long time I found myself alone. The so-called friends that were always wanting to be around and wanted to check in and see how I was doing, no one came to see me. I found myself in a house that I didn't want to be in, all alone, and really probably feeling sorry for myself. And one night there was a knock at the door, and my parents stayed nearby, and my mum was at the door, and she gave me a cassette, and that's showing my age, but she gave me a tape recording of a meeting that I'd attended about 8 years before, when I was 15. And at the start of this, I started playing this tape, and I could hear an American man speaking, and then I could hear my own voice. And I had no idea what was on this tape. But I'd attended that meeting when I was 15, and at the end of the service, the American that had been speaking called me out of the congregation. He asked me to go forward and receive prayer. And at the time, I never really thought anything about it. I didn't listen to what he was saying. But as I heard that recording, sitting alone in my house that night, the recording, I could hear the man say, "You feel insignificant in the eyes of God. You feel insignificant in the eyes of your family. You're an angry young man. If you give your life to Jesus, he will give you the desires of your heart." I played that tape over and over. I was sitting there with all the broken pieces of my life, wondering how I was going to put that back together. And when I heard that if I'd give my life to Jesus, he would give me the desires of my heart, I thought, well, do you know what? I've tried absolutely everything else. Perhaps it's time to go back to my faith. I thought I had to go and put all the broken pieces together myself. However, I was able to take all the broken parts of my life and ask Jesus to help me put it back together. And I committed my life again to Christ. I attended church again. I started mixing with those who were attending church and just really growing in my faith. After some time I got married again. I've now been married for 17 years. I've got 4 daughters and a grandson as well. And really in the midst of all of that, Jesus took me out of all these situations. He didn't wave a magic wand and everything was going to be perfect in life, but he walked through every single situation with me. No matter what I had to deal with, no matter what came ahead in the years that were to come, I didn't do it alone. I did it with Jesus walking side by side with me, leading me forward. I hope that's an encouragement to you today, that regardless of what's going on in your life, regardless of the broken pieces and the mess and how much you've stuffed up and you can't do anything about it, that's fine, because Jesus can. And he's calling you today to commit yourself to him. Don't try and go alone. Don't be on your own. Say yes to Jesus and allow him to direct the paths of your life. It worked for me, and I'm sure it can work for you too. Amen.